Imagine buying a Rolls-Royce Phantom and realizing the car pedal is the size of your two biggest toes. That's Shaq's reality. From million-dollar Rolls-Royces to custom-built giants and three-wheeled rockets, here are 7 expensive rides Shaq O'Neal owns. Buckle up, because this is a ride you don't want to miss. What happens when a 7 feet 1 inch, 325-pound basketball legend tries to fit into a Lamborghini Gallardo? Yeah, not happening. Lambos are made for speed, style, and, well, for tiny Italian race car drivers. The Gallardo sits low, has tight bucket seats, and barely has enough legroom for an average-sized person. Now imagine Shaq squeezing into one. Spoiler alert, he couldn't. But instead of buying a bigger car, let's just say he did something only Shaq would do. He chopped the Gallardo in half and rebuilt it to fit his frame. Most people customize their cars with a new paint job, or upgraded rims, or maybe a turbo kit. But Shaq literally turned an Italian supercar into a Lamborghini limo. His team went further to even stretch the frame, extend the doors, and raise the roofline. Now let's talk about this car for a bit. The Lamborghini Gallardo uses a 5.0-liter V10 engine that pushes out 520 horsepower and 376 pounds-feet of torque. That's enough to launch it from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 4 seconds. 4 seconds. Even with all the custom work, this thing could still fly. Besides its speed, the Gallardo does have some interesting internal features and tech. Lamborghini made sure it had hand-stitched leather and Alcantara, and to make it light, they gave it carbon fiber and aluminum trims. The steering wheel has a flat bottom to help with grip, and its amazing infotainment system comes with touchscreen display, navigation system, Bluetooth connectivity, and a high-end audio system from brands like Kenwood or Alpine. Now, stock Gallardo would set you back $200,000. Expensive? Yep. But for Shaq's elongated version, try $600,000 or even $800K. Could you get one like this? Sure, if you have a few $100,000 lying around and a shop crazy enough to slash the car in two and rebuild it. Next up, Big Shaq's caddy, the 2002 Cadillac Escalade. Straight out of the factory, the Escalade was already packing some serious muscle. Its 6.0-liter V8 delivered 345 horsepower and 380 pounds-feet of torque. Somehow, this wasn't enough for Shaq. Now, the Escalade was already the king of luxury SUVs back in the early 2000s. This was the car of rappers, movie stars, and athletes. Shaq also wanted one, but let's just say its size and power wasn't quite cutting it. So what did he do? Well, he stretched the sedan. And believe me, this wasn't just some minor legroom adjustment. Shaq's Escalade was extended into a full-blown luxury limo on wheels. The first thing you'd notice, the grille. Forget the standard Cadillac emblem. Shaq had it swapped for a massive chrome badge, making sure everyone knew exactly who was pulling up. And the wheels, he made it into 26-inch Asante rims. The inside of Shaq's customized Escalade was something else. He turned it into a rolling VIP lounge. Gorgeous leather seats, a fully custom entertainment system, and so much legroom you could probably fit an entire NBA bench in the back. Okay, no, you can't. Here's where it gets crazy. Shaq's stretched out, fully customized Escalade started a trend. Other athletes and celebrities saw it and thought, yeah, I need that too. A standard 2002 Escalade went for about $50,000, but Shaq's is valued more than 3 or 4 times that price, easily being over $150,000. Yeah, crazy money for a 2002 car. With a net worth of around $500 million, adding a Rolls-Royce Phantom to his collection was like tossing another sneaker in the closet. It's a Shaq O'Neal thing. The Rolls-Royce Phantom is a 3-ton masterpiece. Its 6.75-liter V12 gushes out 453 horsepower and 531 pounds-feet of torque, making it glide like butter, no matter the speed. Speaking of a smooth ride, it also uses adaptive air suspension and rear wheel steering to make it the perfect ride. The inside? Unreal. We're talking hand-stitched leather, deep pile carpets, and that famous Starlight headliner. The seats have heating, cooling, and massage functions. And even cooler is the bespoke audio system, which features around 18 speakers, including subwoofers in the chassis. Now, let's back up for a second. The Phantom has been around since 1925, and Rolls-Royce had one goal: to make the best car in the world. And honestly, they pretty much nailed it. Over the years, it's been the ride of choice for kings, CEOs, Hollywood legends, basketball gods like Shaq O'Neal here. But even a Rolls-Royce Phantom wasn't built for a 7-foot 1-inch giant. Shaq still needed custom modifications, extra legroom, a redesigned driver's seat, and a couple personal touches. As for price, a Rolls-Royce Phantom goes for as low as $450,000 today. A Shaq-sized, fully customized version would certainly be more than $500K. Maybe $600 or $700. Next on our list is Shaq's monster truck, the Ford F-650 Super Truck. This bad boy runs on a 6.7-liter Powerstroke 5.8 that gives out 330 horsepower and an earth-moving 750 pounds-feet of torque. That's more pulling power than a fire truck. Now, a little backstory. The Ford F-650 wasn't even built for regular drivers. This thing was designed for construction workers, utility companies, and people hauling ridiculous amounts of weight. It's the type of truck you'd see pulling heavy machinery, not cruising down the highway. But Shaq took one look at this 6-ton beast and decided it was a perfect fit for a joyride. Shaq's own monster truck is more of a luxury truck. Leather seats? Check. Custom interior? Of course. A sound system loud enough to shake the pavement? Absolutely. One time, Shaq pulled up to an NBA event in this thing, and it was so massive that even NBA giants looked tiny next to it. The truck itself is nearly 10 feet tall, meaning most people would need a ladder just to climb in. Shaq just needs to lift his legs. To think about it, the monster truck was the only car Shaq didn't remake or cut in two. Perfect size for the man, huh? And if you're wondering how much this behemoth costs, a Ford F-650 runs about $150,000. One with Shaq's upgrade could go up to $200,000 or even $300,000. Besides the fortune you'll spend on fuel and the stress you'll face with parking a vehicle the size of a small house, the monster truck is actually a really good set of wheels. Oh, and there's Shaq's luxury three-wheeler, the Polaris Slingshot. Fun fact, the Slingshot is actually an autocycle, so despite looking like a bicycle, you would need an actual driver's license for it, not a motorcycle license. Let's get talking. The Slingshot runs on a 2.0-liter 4-cylinder engine ProStar engine that gives out 178 horsepower and 120 pounds-feet of torque. Not impressed? Well, here's the thing. The Slingshot is ridiculously light. That means it zips from 0 to 60 in just under 5 seconds, and with only 3 wheels, the handling feels insane. Now, let's be real. The Slingshot isn't even a car. It's technically a motorcycle with a bit of extra. No doors, no roof, just 3 wheels on a frame. You're fully exposed to the wind, the road, and, well, any bugs flying in your direction. Doesn't bother Shaq anyway. The Slingshot is already tiny, but when Shaq saw one, he didn't think too much about how he was gonna fit into it. Since squeezing into the stock version was physically impossible, he sent it straight to a custom shop where they stretched the frame, lowered the floor, and completely redesigned the driver's seat. Basically, Shaq has the only Slingshot on Earth built for a 7-footer. Spes, Shaq's Slingshot also has the Superman logo everywhere, even the steering wheel. On price, the Polaris Slingshot starts at around $30,000 and could go for as high as $50,000. Shaq's custom-built extra-large version would be worth around $60,000, if not more. If you ever see a Polaris Slingshot flying down the road and the driver looks like he could dunk on your entire family, congratulations, you just saw Shaq in his 3-wheeled rocket. For most people, a Rolls-Royce Cullinan is already peak luxury, but Shaq always wanted more, so he went straight for the Black Badge Edition. Now a standard Rolls-Royce Cullinan comes with a 6.75-liter twin-turbo V12 that produces horsepower and 627 pounds-feet of torque. Already crazy powerful. But Rolls-Royce wasn't done. They made the Cullinan Black Badge, a more aggressive, sportier version with 592 horsepower, a louder exhaust, and an all-black design with darker chrome, carbon fiber trim, and red interior accents. kinda what Big Shaq would like. And here's the wild part. Rolls-Royce packed this SUV with 200 pounds of soundproofing material. Some people even believe it was designed for military-grade secrecy, so billionaires could have confidential conversations in complete silence. True or not, who knows? But when Shaq's in the backseat, nobody's interrupting his music. Shaq has owned plenty of luxury cars, but the Cullinan is the only SUV that actually fits him comfortably without him cutting it or remodeling it. The seats are custom built to fit his massive frame, and the interior has hand-stitched leather, real wood trim, deep pile carpets that gives it this feel of a really expensive yacht. And let's not forget the Starlight headliner, tiny fiber optic lights embedded in the roof, making it look like you're staring up at the night sky. I guess Rolls-Royce knew Shaq likes his things all shiny. A regular Cullinan starts at $400,000, but with Shaq's customization, luxury upgrades, and black badge package, he easily spent over $500,000 on this rolling palace. If his Cullinan ever went on auction, trust me, it's pulling an easy $800K. And finally, Shaq's 1963 Cadillac Eldorado. This was in fact an iconic Eldorado, as it featured in the 1983 Scarface film, famously driven by Al Pacino's character, Tony Montana. In a 2022 interview with NBC 10 Philadelphia, Shaq was showing off this prized ride when he casually dropped an invite straight to Michelle Pfeiffer. Yeah, that Michelle Pfeiffer, the one who played Elvira in Scarface. He looked right at the camera and said, "Michelle, come ride with me, baby." I'm guessing that's how Shaq pulls in the ladies. Anyway, the 1963 Eldorado was one of Cadillac's most powerful convertibles, bearing a 6.4-liter V8 engine with 325 horsepower and 430 pound-feet of torque on its tail. Unlike most of the muscle cars of that era though, this one was silky smooth. Now, back in the early 60s, Cadillac was the king of American luxury. If you drove one of these back in the day, you were either a Hollywood star, a music legend, or someone who just made a fortune in Vegas. This car was long, sleek, and dripped with style. Let's get into the weirdest part about this car. There's actually a conspiracy theory about Cadillac models from this era. Some car enthusiasts believe that GM secretly built supercharged versions of the Eldorado for certain high-profile customers, people like mob bosses, politicians, and celebrities like Shaq O'Neal. The theory is that a few select cars left the factory with extra horsepower and reinforced suspensions, but Cadillac never officially acknowledged it. Do we have proof? Not really. Now back to Shaq's version, because of course, he wasn't going to drive a factory stock Eldorado. He had it completely customized, with lower stance and sharper chrome details. As for the engine, let's just say he gave it more kicks than it had in '63. The price of a well-restored 1963 Eldorado can range anywhere from $60,000 to $150,000, depending on how much work goes into it. Shaq's custom version, with the engine upgrades, interior refinements, and one-of-a-kind touches, could be worth $250,000 or more. Shaq's car collection is next level, but there are plenty more wild celebrity rides out there. Want us to cover another legend? Drop a name in the comments. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, because we've got even crazier car stories coming your way.